What's poppin', y'all? Cenat has been on a well-deserved break after his Mafiathon 3. And man, a huge marathon. He went on vacation. We saw a couple of clips of him in places like Spain. He's with his girlfriend. He's just enjoying his time after putting on one hell of a production, making history, and finishing out his series. So for him to get dragged into a drama that has nothing to do with him by one of the lesser favored streamers who is running her own award show, Cutie Cinderella, I found it a bit odd. So this first started off with the streaming awards. Now this is different from the awards where Speed just got. That's more of like an institutional award, which is newer. There's been a streaming award that's been hosted for at least 3+ years now by Cutie Cinderella, who is a live streamer that is the girlfriend of another popular live streamer named Ludwig. She started this show to kind of give recognition to streamers. It's fan voted, like about 70% fan voted, and 30% of the vote is by them, which is like the committee, which is her and people that she knows that are involved. And they've scaled this award show to quite a decent level, and it's entertaining. I think they've done an excellent job, especially for coming back from like 2021 or so, I think is when it started. I'm just impressed with anybody that can put together events like this. Like her, I was about to say her husband. Her boyfriend's also a guy that puts on like really impressive events, despite the fact that, you know, I think he's less than a stellar guy, considering how he allowed some people to screw themselves over with that mango situation. That thing just rubbed me the wrong way. Regardless, a bunch of people had their own comments on Cutie Cinderella's streaming awards, and one of the things was, yo, how is a person A, B, C, D not here? Insert whatever streamer you can name that is really popular and you would think they would be nominated for something. And she said, well, you know, this is fan voted, so maybe their fans just didn't vote for them. You know, you have to sign up with your Twitch account and vote. So, you know, say that. And a lot of people were talking about kick streamers in particular, and her reaction to this, you know, a little bit snobby, a little bit snarky. It's common for her. Well, she starts to, you know, try to break down, do the white girl tier type of situation. And I'm going to play you guys that clip right now.
I'm just so tired. My whole team of clippers who had 24 hours to grab the clips did not know. Like, oh my God, I'm not getting hate threads on Jason's community post. That's like his Twitter comment. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm so tired. I just want to play Dispatch so bad, and I haven't had any time because I'm working on this stupid award show.
Listen, I don't know about y'all, but number one, this chick is crying with no tears, right? That's number one. Number two, she's what, 32 years old? 31? 31, 32 years old, grown woman talking about, oh, I just want to play Dispatch. Like, you're not 15. Like, what are you pouting about? Like, what the hell is going on? I just want to play my video game. You chose to do this. You could have stopped doing this. And number three, yo, white chicks crying is just, it almost just like elicits like a straight face. Like, come on, let's be real here. Like when you rank tiers, and let's have a ranking of tiers and trustworthy, right? Like one axis, X axis, Y axis. White chicks gotta be on the lowest level of trustworthy when it comes to tiers. Like, it's just almost, you just gotta disregard. Like, listen, I don't know. Like, if there's white chicks watching this, man, there ain't no white chicks that watch me. Let's keep it a buck here. It just is what it is. I don't know how that happened, but just genetically, maybe I've got some defect, right? Like, I've got a couple of defects, but yeah, I just look at it and I just stare like, oh, like, are you done? Are the tears? First of all, are the tears gonna come out? Have you begun? Really, more than are you done? But this other streamer responded and gave an interesting take. This guy, Asian Andy, who's one of the OG IRL streamers too, he came from the Ice Poseidon universe, which was like CX. This is around 2016, 17. He did his thing. He had a couple of really impressive streams back in the day. Now people will be like, oh, you know, that's not that cool. But at that time, people were like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, one of them was that he locked himself in a white padded room for 72 hours. He couldn't see the time and he couldn't interact with anybody. So he couldn't read the chat or anything like that. And they could send media donations and text to speech to like mess with him. So this guy put himself through psychological torture, but that's just one example of the streams. And he said, I have a hard time feeling bad for her. She, since the beginning, has always ished on just about anyone for clout. She even farmed her best friend at the time, Caterino, when she cheated on her fake boyfriend that was a PDF. Now, I don't know about this PDF part, but this chick, Caterino, she disappeared off of the internet a little bit. The context here is that this girl was trying to, at the time, there was an industry on Twitch which was very buddy-buddy. It was a little bit like Ludwig was a part of it, Cutie Cinderella was a part of it, and a lot of it was centered around what is now known, I don't even know if it still exists, but this guy Austin, who used to run this Raj Patel show, like most of the streamers would interact here. This chick, Caterino, tries to come into the streaming world. She's like, okay, let me hop on this like dating show. Let me network with these people. Let me meet them, which was like the base for that stuff was in Austin, Texas. And she was leading like several guys on at the time. So one of these guys was like, yo, I thought this chick was my girl, but here she is talking to this dude and this dude and this dude and this dude. And then she tried to blame it on her mental health or something, and they just ran her off the internet. She couldn't handle the heat. And Cutie Cinderella was one of the people that kind of dunked on her. It made sense to dunk on her at the time because Cutie Cinderella couldn't have benefited much from her. She literally tweeted shooting on her just to get likes. Fake friend. Also, she high roads and acts like she's not an edgy racist because she's hanging with PC streamers, but back in the day would laugh at all our edgy jokes. Me and Ms. Kiff would rip some crazy ish and she would laugh harder than anyone. Now she's saying she doesn't tolerate racism. Okay, lol. This is a fact. This chick came she was a gaming streamer first. She used to play like this game League of Legends, which if you're not a terrible person, that game would turn you into a terrible person. just about anything. Probably one of the most, it's just, anybody that I've seen that's played that game or come out of that game, well, they come out of that game, that's when they heal. They go through their healing phase. It's like somebody went through puberty. But whilst they're playing that game, just look up clips. Look up clips associated with that game and you'll see they lose their mind more than any other game. So yeah, and she also came into the game as kind of like, not a mean girl where, oh, she's got her group of friends and they're being exclusionary, but a little bit like, I'm not like these other chicks and I'm more abrasive and I'm more willing to be combative. And now she's trying to play the role of, oh, I'm not dainty, but I'm like softer than she has led on for the past 7-8 years. Like this chick is quite ruthless. Not in a negative way, but in a way that doesn't need defending from other people. But I do understand her frustration when you are hosting an event or putting something on and it almost feels like no matter what you do, you are wrong. And that's a hard place to deal with. Anyway, her boyfriend comes out and says, every year I see firsthand how much time, effort, and passion Cutie devotes to the Streamer Awards. And every year, she gets crapped on from every corner of the internet that feels they deserve more. Not really every corner of the internet. I would say in the past 2 years, it's been every corner of the internet. Before that, it was just their little world where this all existed. And it was a lot of support for the first 2 years. I would know. I was there. I know it's not possible to please everyone, but if you're like me and inspired by the work she puts in and thinks it makes streaming a better space, don't be afraid to be more vocal about it. I can agree with this point. One thing that I think people that enjoy something or that support something that isn't controversial but gets a lot of negative feedback, they feel like they don't have to voice their support. They're like, oh, well, I like it. That's enough, right? And that is enough, but you liking it, do not underestimate how much appreciation goes when it comes to somebody that's running something like this, for instance, right? Where like if somebody's a big fan of hers and they like this and you just like the event and you DM her or you DM somebody and you're like, yo, I really like that event. I know it took a lot of effort to put in, etc. Like, this will kind of sound corny. I know it sounds like that. And these types of comments, like negative comments, are what get replied to, but I promise you, people appreciate this a lot more than you think, no matter how big they are, because they don't get recognition for it much, and maybe it doesn't do much for you, but it doesn't take away much from you either. And this goes for anything across the board. Like if you really like a certain artist's album who may not be that popular, then you should really voice it and DM the person, talk about like, yo, this track reminded me of this, whatever. You have no idea how much that motivates that person to keep going. But this chick is gigantic now with this event, so I wouldn't say it all the way applies to her. And then Mr. Beast replies and says, same problem with YouTube Rewind back in the day. Everyone thinks the creators they watch are what everyone watches. Truth is, online content is made up of hundreds of massive pockets of fandom. I don't think this is the case with streaming. I think there are probably maybe less than 24 pockets within streaming. And there used to be this graph that showed the different pockets of streaming with like big circles and where they intersect and the biggest ones. The largest creator in Mexico you might have never seen here as an American English viewer. This is true though, but to Spanish people, oh my God, here we go with the Spanish people thing. This is such an American thing. But to Spanish speakers, right, or Mexican people, they see them 100 times a week and can't comprehend that they aren't theoretically the biggest. Same applies to any bubble of games that you watch, the type of content you watch. And then Ludwig says, true, I find a 10 million subscriber channel every year and it's only getting bigger. Well, this is the thing. YouTube is like what, top 3, top 4 biggest, most visited platforms in the world globally. Twitch is not that. And then when you add Kick, it's not that. It's such a smaller pocket of people that watch streamers. But then Cutie Cinderella decides to leverage this Kai Cenat clip and just pretty much retweets it. She just puts a dot to let her know that this is what she feels. And I'm gonna play you guys that clip right now.
It's gonna be fire. This is an idea. And I know how exciting it may be to certain people, but it's like, bro, you don't have to let this determine who you are as a creator. I'm telling y'all. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never doing this again. Cause now I'm mad. Cause it's like, no matter which direction I go, no matter which way I try to make sure thing is good, I always get the bad end of the stick. My bank statements is ridiculous behind this. Nobody's paying a dime to be in. This is strictly for me to help. I'm finna crash out.
All right. I think this was dirty. Trying to pull Kai Cenat into this. Number one, Streamer University he invited so many smaller streamers. People were like, yo, he didn't invite non-streamers. If you were not a streamer ever, you did not consistently make content, what the hell were you going to do at Streamer University? You were going to make everyone fall asleep. Be like, yo, how do I set up my IRL toolkit? How do I make sure my stream key is like in the right place? Oh, come on, let's be real here. But there were so many streamers that were small that were invited. That is not the case with the streaming awards. It's more bigger streamers. And some people, like she said, it's fan voted. So if you can get a ton of fan votes, you've already got a big fan base. So that's where the difference lies, number one. Number two, and this is a very big deal, is Kai Cenat is never throwing his homie under the bus. Like, DDG was fresh off of allegations of putting hands on Halle Bailey, who is like in the Hollywood world, managed by Rock Nation, and he was like not having access to his kid. His name was in the mud for a little bit while that happened. And what did Kai Cenat do? And Kai Cenat had corporate sponsors for streaming, or not for streaming awards, for Streamer University. He said, that's my man's. I know him. I know he didn't do any of that stuff. Obviously, they had to have this conversation prior. He said, I'm bringing him anyway. And he brought him there. You think Cutie Cinderella's doing that? Man, come on, man. Even her own boyfriend, his man's, did like a crazy move where, like, after being really, really, really drunk. And instead of saying, yo, you know what he did was wrong, but he was just so drunk and, I shouldn't have told him to keep drinking. I know how he gets, but, guys, like, you should know him. He doesn't have any bad intentions with that, etc. No, he threw him under the bus. He hit him upside the head with the shovel, kicked him into the ditch, and started burying him alive and invited everybody else. Like, yo, you guys were already thinking about burying this guy alive? Come with me. I got you guys. So the fact that she's trying to bring Kai into this, Kai's completely different from y'all. This is not the same, and it is quite gross and manipulative to try to present it as the same. Now, I understand where she is coming from by saying, oh, like he's frustrated with throwing the event because he throws an event, gives a bunch of people opportunities, which is not what Cutie Cinderella is doing with the streaming awards. What Cutie Cinderella is doing with the streaming awards is entertaining us for the most part. Like, you're not getting an opportunity, because if you're a nobody, you're not on the streaming awards. Kai Cenat is both entertaining us and giving opportunities to up-and-coming people, maybe people that fell off, etc. And with Kai Cenat, he was getting hate for it was ridiculous. He was trying to put people on. So that's two different sides of hate. But it's the organization of the event that is stressful, and they don't need to do it. That's the thing. Kai Cenat does not need to do Streamer University. Cutie Cinderella doesn't need to run these events, but really, she kind of got on by running some of these events. And it helped her at the time, too, because she got to be around big streamers that would be at her events. Thus, rising tide lifts all ships type of situation. So that's where I think there are differences in what's going on there. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.